close your eyes for a moment, what do you see? Total darkness. Now open them. You see a world of vibrant colors, sharp edges, and deep perspectives. You feel as though you are a passenger in a glass-windowed vehicle looking out at an objective, physical reality. But what if I told you that everything you are seeing right now is a fabrication? What if I told you that you have never, not for a single second of your life, actually seen the world as it truly is? The truth is far more unsettling and far more powerful. Your brain is a 3-pound organ locked inside a dark, silent, and moist skull. It has no windows. It has no direct access to the sun, the trees, or the people you love. It sits in total isolation, receiving nothing but a frantic, chaotic stream of electrical impulses traveling down nerve fibers. Maybe everything you are looking for, clarity, stability, and peace, isn't found in the desperate effort to run after life, but in understanding the machinery that creates your life in the first place. Today, we are going to explore the neuroscientific frontier of predictive coding. We will discover why you are legally blind several times a second, why optical illusions are the key to your survival, and why two people can look at the exact same event and witness two completely different universes. Before we begin this journey into the architecture of your mind, I want to make a direct invitation. Write in the comments the phrase, "My calm is my power." Write it with intention. Declaring this starts to break the pattern of mental noise and prepares your brain to receive a truth that will change how you view every obstacle in your path. For decades, we were taught a simple lie, that the eyes are like cameras sending a live feed of the world to the brain. But in the 1990s, neuroscientists discovered something that shattered this model. They looked at the visual cortex, the part of the brain that processes sight, and found a staggering anomaly. There are actually more neural signals traveling down from the higher brain centers to the visual cortex than there are signals traveling up from the eyes. Let that sink in. If your eyes were truly showing you the world, the traffic would be one way, from the eye to the brain. But the brain is talking to the eyes more than the eyes are talking to the brain. This is the foundation of predictive coding. Your brain is not a passive receiver, it is a generative AI. It is constantly running a high-fidelity virtual reality simulation of what it expects to be outside the skull. It uses its past experiences, your beliefs, and your internal state to guess the world into existence. The electrical impulses coming from your eyes and ears are only used as error signals. Their only job is to tell the brain where its guess was wrong, so it can tweak the simulation. As we often discuss, the problem is not the life you are living, but the noise in the mind you are using to face it. When your mind is accelerated, your internal simulation becomes distorted by anxiety and fear. You aren't reacting to reality, you are reacting to a simulation that has been hijacked by your own internal chaos. This is why the man who cannot stop his mind cannot sustain success. He is fighting a war against a ghost he created himself. To understand how deep this simulation goes, we have to look at one of the brain's most impressive editing tricks, saccadic masking. Think about your eyes moving. You think you see a continuous, smooth stream of vision, but you don't. Several times every second, your eyes perform what are called saccades, rapid, jerky movements as you shift your focus from one point to another. During that tiny fraction of a second, the image on your retina is a blurred, nauseating mess. If you actually saw it, you would be constantly motion sick. To prevent this, your visual cortex simply shuts down the input. You are effectively, legally blind for several milliseconds, hundreds of times a day. But do you see a black gap? No. Your brain seamlessly edits that gap out. It pastes the next stable image over the gap, creating the illusion of continuity. This is why you can never see your own eyes move in a mirror. Try it. You will see your eyes in position A, then position B, but you will never see the transition. This is the ultimate evidence that your consciousness is a polished, edited movie, not a live broadcast. Your brain is obsessed with stability. It would rather lie to you than show you the messy, unpredictable truth. In the same way, many men live trapped in a dangerous illusion, the idea that they can control everything around them. Just as the brain masks the blur of the eyes to feel in control of vision, we try to mask the uncertainty of life to feel safe. But this obsession with control doesn't come from ambition, it comes from fear. The more you try to control the external world, the more anxiety you generate in your internal simulation. Real power appears when you stop reacting to what you cannot change and start governing the one thing you actually own, your internal state. We often think optical illusions trick the brain. That is the wrong way to look at it. Optical illusions are the moment the mask slips. They reveal the source code of how your brain actually works. They show us that the brain isn't looking for truth, it's looking for meaning based on its internal rules. This leads us to a profound implication. If our brains are generative models, then no two people are ever witnessing the same objective reality. When you and another person look at the same event, a business opportunity, a conflict in a relationship, a failure, you are experiencing two privately generated simulations that just happen to overlap. Your simulation is colored by your vision or lack thereof. If you have been trained to be realistic and dream small, your brain's predictive coding will literally filter out opportunities that don't fit that narrow model. You won't see the path to success because your brain doesn't expect it to be there. This is why I say that being realistic is the most accepted excuse for failure. It is a self-imposed limit on your brain's generative capacity. If you want to change your reality, you have to change the instructions you are giving to your generative brain. This is why visualization is not a fantasy, it is a technical tool. When you imagine the life you want with clarity and emotional intensity, you are training your brain's predictive coding to recognize opportunities it previously ignored. You are adjusting your internal model so that when the external error signals match your dream, your brain can finally see them. At this point, I want you to pause. Reflect on what you are trying to control that is stealing your peace. Name it in the comments, and then declare your new direction by writing, "I am fulfilling my dreams." If the world we see is a simulation, how do we navigate it effectively? How do we stop being slaves to the noise and start being the architects of the model? The answer is not found in motivation, which is just a temporary spike in the simulation's emotional data. The answer is willpower. Many men believe willpower is a gift they weren't born with, but the science of the brain shows us that willpower is a muscle. It is the ability to maintain your internal direction even when the external error signals, the fatigue, the fear, the setbacks, are screaming at you to stop. Your brain's predictive coding wants to take the path of least resistance. It wants to keep the simulation comfortable and predictable. When you choose to do the hard thing, when you wake up early, when you stay silent instead of reacting, when you work without immediate results, you are putting pressure on that muscle. You are telling your brain, "I am the one who decides what is important, not the impulses." Every time you act according to your word instead of your mood, you are reprogramming your identity. You are teaching your brain that your word has more weight than the external chaos. This is how you move from "I have to do this" to "this is who I am." The man with a strong will doesn't wait for the weather to be perfect to sail. He understands that the simulation will always provide excuses: cold, heat, tiredness, doubt. But his center of control is no longer outside. He has decided that his purpose is more real than his fatigue. In a world that is constantly accelerating, the man who masters calm has a silent competitive advantage. Why? Because calm is the state where your brain's generative model is at its most precise. When you are anxious, your brain generates ghosts, problems that don't exist, scenarios that will never happen. But when the mind is quieted, you begin to see with precision. What seemed like an enormous mountain is reduced to a clear decision. You stop pursuing success from a place of lack and start attracting it through coherence. Calm is not passivity, it is presence. It is the ability to keep your internal simulation stable even when the environment is chaotic. While others are reacting to every error signal, you are observing. While others are exhausting their energy and impulses, you are conserving yours for the movements that truly matter. This is the mastery of the self. It is understanding that the world outside is unpredictable, but the world inside can be ordered. When you order your internal world, the life around you begins to align with